Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Now we just go and see this for a while. Okay. And where is that? Okay. Now you remember all the rules, right? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you do one thing. You draw a chart, right? Maybe you can share at your screen. Okay. I can request you. Okay, I can give you a remote. Maybe yes. Okay. Now help me to identify for G. Okay, let's go to for G. So first of all, I have to identify the London open. What I need to do? It is UTC plus 8 in your time. So when does the London open in your time?
3.
3
Right?
p.m. Okay, 3
3
p.m.
p.m.
I mark the 3 p.m. right now. Okay, on GU. 3 p.m. 3 p.m. 13 May, right? 13 May, 3 p.m. Here, 3 p.m. Okay. So what I do, I just draw this line, which is vertical line. Okay, on this 3 p.m. And I mark this dotted. Okay, this is London open time. Okay, got it? It makes things easier now. You have already marked.
Okay.
Then what I need to do? Can you tell me step by step? What time frame do I need to go?
15 minutes.
Okay, I go to the 15-minute time. Now what's the next step? Keep on telling me. Yes. What's the next step? The next step is to identify overnight sessions high and low, right? So
Okay.
what does the overnight session means? Overnight session means that the time between New York close and Asian close. Got it? So can you tell me where does the Asian close? When does the Asian close? 1 hour before, right? So
Yeah.
1 hour before means 2 o'clock, which is here, right?
Yeah.
So I mark the high of this, okay, here. All right, I mark it. Okay, extend the line. All right, and what I call it, I just go here and write down overnight session high. Stop this. I do it on the left side. Okay. And now, where is the overnight session low? Can you tell me on the 15-minute chart?
It's a bit more to your left.
The overnight session low would be the point where the time between Asian close, okay? New York session close and Asian close. So the Asian close is already here, you know that, okay? The New York session was closed. I draw another line to mark the New York session close. This vertical line. Now, where do you want me to mark? At what time of your time? 5 a.m. of your time. 5 a.m.
Sure.
5 a.m. Here.
5 a.m.
This one. Okay. So this is 5 a.m. of your time. This is the point where the New York session was closed. Got it? Now, can you tell me the lowest point in this between these two lines? The lowest point between this line, this, and this two vertical lines.
Somewhere around 9 o'clock.
9:30. Yeah. This one. And what do you do here? You draw what? You draw another line. And what do we call this as?
Overnight session low.
Overnight session low. Okay, good. Overnight session low. Now then, what's the next step now? Okay, I will do it bottom. Bottom left. No, it will do it center. Much more better. Okay, then What's the first step here? After identifying overnight session highs and lows. Okay, London Open is here, you know that. Now we're gonna identify what? We're gonna draw the
Bias.
Y-cost structure, and then identify the bias, right? So draw the Y-cost structure. Can you draw the Y-cost structure from here to here? From overnight session, from here to here. Okay, before overnight session, this London Open, what do we notice in London Open? What is this?
A downtrend?
Hmm?
Is it a downtrend?
If I draw this little channel here. So what is happening into the overnight session? During overnight session, this is London, this is New York session, right? What happened? What is happening? What is this one? When we draw the channel here, connecting this one, connect this low. This is what? Shortening of the thrust. Am I right?
Yeah.
SOT, shortening of the thrust, and then we can, during shortening of the thrust, we can draw this. Okay, shortening of the thrust. And what happened during shortening of the thrust? This one. What is this?
Making a
Yeah.
higher low.
JAC, jump across the creek, because this is also creek, right?
Okay.
JAC, right? We call this as JAC. Now, can you identify the bias? What is bias? The bias is bullish.
Bullish.
Okay. But bias is bullish for when? Between overnight session high and low. Make sense? Bias is bullish between overnight session high and low. This is bullish bias, right?
Okay.
Do you understand, right? Now, can you draw more structure here? Okay, after this shortening of thrust, when was the point when we see the first high and low? Was this the point at the first high and low? Can you say like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if this was the first high and low, we can mark it at the beginning of the okay. We can mark it at the beginning of what? Uptrend, right? Markup. So we can draw the channel, connect this point and this overnight session low, this one, extend it, and draw our trend line. Now, where would I place this one? Here, let's see. If I place this one here or here, this one, between these two, this is the highest point, right?
Yeah.
And when was the London Open? Now,
3 p.m.
now we have one trick here. The thing is, we have already reached overbought here, right? So OB plus BC. So what can we conclude? We can conclude that in the middle of the range, in the middle of this range, middle of overnight session high and low, we have a bias of bullish bias. And at high of overnight session, bias is equals to bearish. Am I right? At high, because we have OB and BC for this point. Can you see?
Okay.
So at this point, we have OB and BC. So if we are trading between this range, we will go for long. But if we go and breach this top, we will go for short. Simple.
Okay.
Okay, so all rules are defined. Now you go to the 5-minute chart and refine everything. Okay, so what do you refine here? OB and BC was looked here. OB and BC. Okay. Now, when was the London Open?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. The London was open between overnight session high and low or at high? Overnight session high. The London Open was between overnight session high and low. Am I right? So what bias will you take? Bullish or bearish? Between overnight session high and low, the bias was bullish. Okay, at high of overnight session at this point, because we observed OB and BC, okay, so the bias was bearish. So since we are in the middle, we will take bias as bullish. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so what we do, and just we already know this is the point where OB and BC is observed. So we have to exit our trade right over there if you enter it. But anyhow, right? So what do we do? We go to the 3-minute chart, define an entry. Okay, do I need to mark this matrix or you can mark by yourself? JAC, if this is JAC, what is this? LPS, right? Last one is support. Okay. And this one is OB and BC. I've already marked it. Right? OB and BC. All right. And then this is LPS. And what is this? Again, this is also LPS. LPS, right? Last one support. This is once the London opened right over here on this session. Okay. Now, what you can do, you can take a trade. Put your stop loss right over here. Okay. And where is the one OB was and BC was observed over here? We can just straight away put a target right here. Right?
Yeah.
So we know that. But as soon as we observe that the price reaches this level, so this is OB and BC, this is what? This is secondary test, ST, you know that. And we have both accumulation. We have both accumulation and distribution. The thing is, it's not like you can have accumulation distribution within the same trading. Okay. The broader range is accumulation, but the smaller is distribution. Got it? Secondary test. Do you have any problem here so far? What is this? AR.
I think
AR.
okay.
AR. Okay. After this AR, what is this? AR. The price just fall below. AR. If you draw this small range here, what is this? Falling through ice, right? FTI. Am I right? And this one is the price just bounce here 2 times here. This is rally back to ice over this point. Okay, RBI. Rally back to ice. Or we also call it as LPSY. Last point of supply. Okay. And then what do we see here? As soon as we reach this secondary test. Okay. On the secondary test, if we draw a little line over, this is also secondary test. This is also secondary test. Right? We can have multiple secondary tests. And now we have a secondary test of what? At lower high. Right? And as I told you, once we have lower high, we can draw a small channel here. And we can just make it dotted here. Right? Can you do like this?
Yeah.
And what we can do, this is RBSY plus this has also a characteristic of UT. So this is both RBI and plus UT up first. Right? All right. And then we go again, and here we have LPS from this one, from accumulation, of course. Right? We know that. This is what? What is this? If you draw an LPS line here, this is what? Spring. Right? Make sense now?
Yeah.
This is spring. And this is what? Test of spring. Right? And what do we notice here? Huge bar. The spread of the bar is just normal if you compare this one and this one, right? This one and previous one. Okay, the spread of the bar, your volume is very huge. So we can take our trade. And if you go to the 1-minute chart to further refine your entry, you will see something like effort versus no results like that. definitely. Here. Can you notice here? This one, right over here, this one. Small spread bar as compared to this one, but volume is very huge. Am I right? So this is what? Effort versus no result. Can you see? You can redefine your entry, and now you get much more optimal high. Sorry.
It's quite lagging.
Sorry?
It's quite lagging.
Lagging what?
Like you are already zoomed in, right? But then the zoom is still trying to zoom in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's see now. All right, so we go to the same chart now. Stops and targets are placed. So the stops and targets are placed here, and then we can just target this, right? So 4.4 R. Am I right?
Okay.
Okay, so if this is up thrust, what is this? If this is up thrust, this is what? So once you execute your trade during the London session, the target would be here, you made 4.4 R. But as you reach this line, RBI UT line, because we have overbought from here, right? We call this as what? We are breaching the upthrust. We are going above upthrust. So we call it as UTAD, right? After distribution, and we can see on after distribution, what do we see here? This focus on this bar. This bar. What is it? Effort versus no result. Yeah, so what are you going to do on the effort versus no result? You can go short immediately on this. Okay, and stop loss just below the high. Okay. And immediately, where would my target would be? Overnight session low, or we can also target this one. Okay, overnight session low is the last point here, I think, right? Because overnight session and the last one, okay, at this point, what was the point of the last swing low? The last swing low was a spring one, this one, right? Am I right? At this point, we don't know anything on this data. Okay, we don't know. So if you're taking entry, our last low was this, right? So we can either place an entry. We can either place our take profit right over here, or we can also go for this overnight session. And both session, how much we made? 5.79, and here we made 4.4. So around, we can say 9 hours. Make sense?
Okay.
So this entire process took how much time of my time? Almost 2.5 hours. So because you will not be trading, most of the time you don't have time, right? To take 2.5 hours, 3 hours. So you can just take like London session entry and you can make around 4 hours to 3 hours per day, and that's enough for them. Any problem?
Okay, should be good.
Yeah. And as I told you that sometimes I told you, right? Okay. Now, if you remember the Euro USD example, what happened when the price hit the overnight session low, it reversed, right? But now we hit and we break through this overnight session low. And then later on we reversed. Now, how can you define this? This is what? Shortening of the thrust, right? SOT. Can you see? You're making less and less progress to the downside. Shortening of the thrust, right?
Yeah.
We can draw the line over here. Shortening of the thrust. SOT, shortening of the thrust to the downside, right? And we can draw another channel here to mark our optimal target, because this was a point. If this was a high, if this was a point where there was a first high, right? So we can just mark it from here and draw the second point here, this one. So point is to mark this point and this point. And what we did, so what do we observe here? overbought, shortening of the thrust, and then the price breaks through it, right?
Yeah.
So what do we have? This one is marked as what? Can you tell me? This one? Oversold and selling climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, and then secondary test. What do we notice during the secondary test? Here, effort versus no result, right? Here, no supply, right? Here, no supply. Can you see the volume here?
Yeah.
So on each of these parts, we can go long, and we can safely exit our trade either at overnight session high or this one. Make sense?
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go for the last one here, 15 minutes. Let's go for. Okay, so this was 12 May. So let's go for. This was 13 May. Let's go for 12 May now. Okay.
Oh, can you try to change your internet connection?
Sorry.
Can you try to change your internet connection?
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Let's see if it's better.
Let's change it. Okay, so 12 p.m. right? So 12 May. So 13 May we have analyzed. Let's analyze for 12 May. So you will help me to analyze. Okay? Hold on. Hello, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So can you help me to analyze the 12 May one? We have already analyzed 13 May. So let's go for 12 May. So your time was when the Asian Open?
3
3 p.m., which is this one,
3 p.m.
roughly around this one, right? 2 p.m., this one, this one, this one, right? So we draw this vertical line. Okay, let's do it faster. Okay, this is London Open. And when was the time when we had the Asian close? 1 hour before.
2 p.m.
Here, right? London close.
Yeah.
And when was the time when the New York session was closed? 5 a.m.
5 a.m.
Just market vertical line, 5 a.m. And so this is New York session close. This is Asian session close. This is London Open, and this is pre-London session, right? Between these Asian openings. Got it? Now, what I said you, between this and this, you mark the highest and lowest point. Can you mark? Easy. This one would be the highest point here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we call this what? Overnight session high. Simple. All right. Let's do it. And this one here, the overnight session low would be just below this one. So at exactly 3 p.m., right? So we can draw this one between this and this. This is what? Overnight session low. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Overnight session low, overnight session high. Now what you're gonna do? The next step, faster. You're gonna identify how the price is coming from. So this was what? This was a downtrend, and during overnight session, what do we notice? The price is still going down during overnight session, high and low.
Yeah.
Right. So this is actually what? What is the bias here? We don't know yet, right?
Bearish.
Right.
No,
this is so far it's bearish session. Bearish between overnight high and overnight low. We have a bearish bias, right? bias is equals to bearish, but when? Between overnight, high and low. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. And then what do you notice here? And as we go down at just 1 hour before this one, what do we notice? Now, if we draw the trend line between this one, because this one, let's suppose this is redistribution during, okay. This is the high, the first high and low was from here. So if we draw the trend line from here to here, or we adjust it from here to here, because if you draw from here to here, it will mess up the entry because we cannot find the optimal entry, right? These two are very close, so we can just draw from here, right? The second point we can draw just before the sorry.
Before London open.
Yeah, before then we draw that this structure and trend line, work of structure. So learn it. Right? So what do we notice here at this point? This one, oversold, just at oversold. Okay, OS. Do you agree or not?
Yeah.
So it's all about logic. You know, every time the rules will change, the rules will be consistent, but it's all about logic here. And oversold. And what is this? Just before an open, what do we notice here? Automatic reaction. AR. But AR. And if you go and refine on the 5-minute chart, just go to the 5-minute chart and refine it, you will see a very, very interesting thing. This AR was also what? Jump across the creek. Right or wrong?
Yes.
Now, what is our bias? What is a bias? Huh? A bias is bullish. From where? From the low. So between this triangle, between this range, a bias is bearish. But at the low, a bias is bullish, right? Right?
Yeah.
And we can also draw another one like this. Okay, just at the high of this, right? And we can go to the 3-minute chart and we can wait for the London open. Okay, and exactly where we see JAC and AR, okay, and the price reversed here and the price came back and tested it. Okay, what do we notice here? The price just immediately went up and then reversed. Can you see? Reversed. That means this is what? Upthrust. Can you say that this is upthrust of this trading range? Yes. Do you agree or not? And now we can just take a short trade here. 2R. How much? 2R. Because we have to exit at this oversold and SC. Why? Because this is the point where the price will reverse, right? So this is what? If this is oversold and selling climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, this is what? What do you observe here? Once you exit, spring, right?
Yeah.
The price immediately reversed. But the point is, if you place a trade right from here, okay, it will be very, very difficult for us to trade because our stocks will go just below it. For example, if we made how much 2R during an open. Now, if we just place here, the stock will go too much low, right? And then our target would be this one, right? Got it? So it will not make any sense, right? 1.84. So we have to define the entry. How do we define?
Change to 1 minute. Refine by changing to 1 minute.
Yeah, okay. Let's change to 1 minute now. 1 minute we have to go so far. Sorry. The London Open was here, right? Yeah, right over here. Now we can easily refine it. You can see reverse, and this is what? No demand. Am I right? No supply. Can you see? No supply. After the spring, this is spring, and then we tested the spring with a no supply. Can you see the volume and no supply?
Yeah.
So we place an entry right over here on the 1-minute chart. We go back to the 3-minute chart. Okay. Now we have optimal entry, a very, very optimal entry. Okay, we got the optimal entry here. And where do we exit here? We just exit over the last. So how much did we make? 3.3 R. 2 R plus 3.3 R between just London Open in just half an hour. We took 2 trades and we made 5 R. Make sense?
Okay.
Because this is a point where we can, because if this is AR and this is what we say that this is up thrust, okay, and then this we can say that this is the AR of this one, right, of this upward distribution. So we have a big accumulation and small distribution on the top, right?
Yep.
So this is a line, this is our time where we will have set our minimum objective, or we can also set this one as a minimum objective, this trend line. Okay, if you want to go and target for higher, and it will also work out. You see, at this point, this is the point, right? And now, how much we made? 4.98. Do you understand?
Okay.
And now, actually, what happened then? Okay, when the price just went above, tried to break this trading channel and then reversed again. When the price reversed again, what do we notice here? The price made what? Lower high. If the price made lower high, we can connect this 2 point and we can draw the channel right across it. And now we have a clear indication that we can go short. On this point again, place a stop loss, and if we can refine an entry on the 1-minute chart, and we can just place our trade right. Make sense? This is the third entry.
Okay.
Right? And then what we noticed? This for this channel, what do we notice? This is what? For this channel, oversold.
Yeah.
Oversold plus selling climax. Right? And what happened? This one is what? AR. Automatic rally. Okay. And this is what? Can you tell me? The price came back and reversed from here. This is secondary test. But we were waiting for the second test to test this point, right? This point here.
Yeah.
But the price did not test this point. Instead, it made what? The second test made what?
Higher low.
Higher low. So this, you already know what to do, right? After this higher low, we can draw the channel here, and then we can just, if we take a trade from here, where would we exit? You know already, right? Yeah, just right over here. Got it? So here, higher low, the price went up, and what do we see here? See this point? This one. And this. No supply, right? On the no supply, we can take an entry right over here, place a stop loss below this, right? So below this stop loss, just below this last low. If we are taking a trade right over here, our last low was this one. So we place a stop loss before this, below this last low, and our target would be where? You already know, at the overbought. So just at the overbought we place. And how do we make? 3.52. Got it? And this all happened within how many hours? 3-4 hours, we made around more than 20 R. Make sense?
Yeah.
But just during London session, we can easily make, you can see, we can easily make 3 R, 3 to 2 R, 3 to 5 R, very easily. And then once we see overbought here, this is what? Overbought, right? Plus buying climax. And what do we know? What can we do from here? We can draw 10 and here, this is what? Exactly what happened, whatever I was noticing, right? If we Now we just extend this trend line. You see how Viper is working out? Structures are working out.
Yeah.
What do we need? Notice here during this point here. What is this? Higher secondary test. Right? This is secondary test here. This one here, right? And secondary test made what? Higher low. And I told you when we observe higher low, we can draw a dotted line and we can call this as UT. Right?
Yes.
And on this UT, we can go short. And of course, our bias is what? So you observe, do we have high volume on the buying climax or overbought, or we have high volume on the oversold? You see the volume on the overbought and you compare it with the oversold. Which one is more higher?
Oversold.
Oversold. So can you tell me which one is more stronger? Yes, we have both bullish bias. We have bearish bias at the top, bullish bias on the bottom, but which bias is more stronger? Bearish bias, because the volume here is higher than the bullish bias. Got it? The bullish overbought. Right?
Okay.
So bullish bias is more stronger than the bearish bias. Got it? So we must know that if we have to exit, we cannot put a trade and just forget and just let the trade come and test this point. We have to exit in just 2 hours, right? We can just take small 2 hour trade and exit it, and then we are done for trade. Okay. And at the end point, what we see shortening of the thrust and the price reversed again into the channel. And then what do we notice? The price breaks through it. This is jump across the creek of this channel, this trend line, huge volume. You can see increasing spread, increasing volume. This is what? LPS, last point of support. Can you see?
Yeah.
No supply. Can you see no supply? Now you easily know what to do. You can just go long, right? You can just go long right over here. Stop loss very easily, last low right over here. Okay, and then you can go long. Okay, you can go for the maximum height. Okay, and you can just draw this channel here, and we can exit on overbought, right? And as we see overbought again, what we see, the price reversed, and the same thing happens. Accumulation distribution. Make sense?
Yeah.
Do you understand how you need to apply structure and how to make how to follow the every rules here? First of all, you need to identify overnight session high and low. Then you need to draw the Wyckoff structure, how the price is coming into the Wyckoff structure, what is the bullish bias between overnight session high and low, and what is the bullish bias at. So the thing is, you need to identify the bullish bias, like the bias between overnight session high and low, and the bias between overnight session low on at the overnight session high, right? So when the price is between overnight session high and low, we can say that the bias is bearish here. But once the price is at the overnight session low, we observed oversold and selling climax just before London Open. London Open was here. So we can say that the bias at the overnight session low is what? Bullish. So if the London Open right over here, we can go short. Okay, because we are in a during overnight session high and low, we are between. During London session open, right? We were between the overnight session high and low, so the bias is bearish. But once we hit our target, we reached our overnight session low, the bias become bullish. Understand?
Okay.
So this is how you can trade multiple times. So we stop this. Webinar now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I will send you the recording through YouTube. Okay. Bye bye.
Yes,
We will
thank
continue
you.
next week, and then we'll do more strategies and real-time trades. Okay.
Okay. I will practice in the meantime.
Okay, sure. Bye bye.
Bye.